you know that you have an adolescent in your household with this. Hey, it's time to go to school. Please wake up. No. Time to go to school. Please wake up. Get out of bed. I don't know if we scream, but part of adolescence is a change in the circadian rhythm. So during this time period, kids have a natural shift back in their circadian clock. And it looks like the kid that won't get out of bed. And we think, well, what happened? 2 weeks ago, you wanted to get up and watch Saturday morning cartoons. And now you can't get out of bed to go to school? You're going to have to walk to school with wet hair, 1.5 miles. And we try to get them to wake up. I know this. I teach an 8 o'clock in the morning class to college students. And I think that they're perfecting the art of sleeping with one eye closed. And it's even, adolescent time period, I guess I should say, is typically considered from 12 to 22, 24, depending on what research you look at. So this change in sleep patterns starts during that time period, and we see it continuing, that they are not fully awake. They're not fully attentive. How many times have you told your child something in the morning, and you come home, and they haven't done what you told? And you say, well, how come you didn't do what I told you? What do you mean? What did you tell me? When did you tell me that? And what's happening is they are not fully attentive. They're not aware. I think until about 10, 9:30 or 10 o'clock. Typically, we say with the research, it's 1 hour. 1 hour has shifted, and they are not fully attentive at 8 o'clock in the morning. It takes till about 9. If you pair this with what's going on in their social environment, they're not getting to sleep at night. How many people in here have a hard time getting their children to turn off the radio, turn off the TV, turn this off, turn your brain off? And it is very, very difficult for them. We can turn off TVs and anything that has an on-off button. It's difficult for them to turn off their mind even. They are thinking, what am I going to wear tomorrow? How am I going to ask this person to go out? Are they going to notice me? And the boys are thinking similar things like, I wonder if we're going to win our football game, and what can I do to make Susie look at me? And they're thinking during this time period. So they're having a delay in going to sleep and a natural shift in waking up. How many people in here feel irritated when they don't get enough sleep? Okay, I wish that I had a shirt for when I don't get enough sleep that says low frustration tolerance. And people would just know and see me when I haven't gotten enough sleep. Adolescents are operating on that. They're operating on a change in their sleep cycle. And that can affect them. It affects their mood. They seem extra moody. Another reason that they seem extra moody, or another reason that you can tell that you have an adolescent in your household, is because they are going through something that's called adolescent egocentrism. Anybody ever heard of egocentrism before? Okay, we typically associate it with 2-year-olds, right? But in adolescence, there is another time period where they are self-focused. I talk about adolescent egocentrism as, oh my God, I have a pimple. Oh my God, did you see my pimple? Look at my pimple. Can't you see it? Can't you see it from there? Look at my pimple. Oh my God, I'm not going to pass my test, and Jack's not going to take me to the prom. Did you see my pimple? Look at my pimple. Oh my God. And every one of them are so consumed with their own pimple that nobody notices their pimple. Adolescent egocentrism is a feeling that they are constantly on stage, that they're being evaluated by everybody around them. How many people have caught their child looking in the mirror as they're talking, looking in the mirror as you're driving, constantly fiddling with themselves? How do I look when I stand like this? How do I look when I stand like this? How do I look when I stand like this? And they are just self-absorbed. Adolescent egocentrism is they are self-absorbed, that they spend so much time thinking that they are the center of everything that they have a really hard time seeing somebody else's perspective. Any of you tried to say, oh, I know what that's like. I've been an adolescent. Raise your hand if you've done that. How'd that go over? Not so good, right? Here's another part of adolescent egocentrism. You don't know what I'm talking about. You're not me. You don't know what it's like to be me. How can you say that you know what it's like to be? You don't know what it's like to be me. It is this intense feeling of uniqueness. Nobody knows what it's like to be me. Nobody has any idea how it feels to feel how I feel because nobody has ever felt this before, and you're not me. This is why when they talk to their friends about issues, nothing usually gets resolved because they say, oh, well, you know what happened to me? Oh, well, I can do one better. You know what happened to me? And it's just me. Another part of adolescent egocentrism is sense of invincibility. They feel invincible. They know, usually, what to do and what not to do. But they often engage in high-risk behaviors that have huge consequences because they believe that it will not happen to me. So I often ask this to my college students, 18 and 19-year-olds, and they will say, I'll say, in your high school, when you went to high school, did you have kids that would drink and drive? Yeah. Did you ever drink and drive? Yeah. Why? Well, I wasn't going to get pulled over. They were stupid. I'm not stupid. And it's sense of invincibility, that often adolescents know what to do, know what not to do. They will tell you that it won't happen to them. What happens to these people will not happen to me. I will never get addicted to drugs. I will never get pulled over. I won't get pregnant. He uses the pull and pray method. Put that in there. They tell me that in the class, that they think that is a sexual safety precaution. That's part of egocentrism. One other part of egocentrism is called the personal fable. The personal fable is this idea that adolescents have about their life that has a little bit of fantasy to it. Adolescents have this sense of reality about their life, and then they add a little bit to it to make it seem exciting. This is what you used to find in girls' diaries. This is why girls would say, don't ever find my diary. You read my diary, and you'd be mortified if somebody read the diary. And the reason for it is there is the aspects of your life that are real, and then there's a fantasy part. This is now Facebook. It is not private anymore, okay? This is becoming a concern in the field of psychology, specifically to growth and development, because kids are more comfortable expressing themselves on the computer than they are with face-to-face communication. They're okay with sharing that type of information with other people. It doesn't have the same type of consequences it had before, and it doesn't serve the same purpose before. And so it's actually changing a lot of research in the field of psychology of what's going to happen, or how is it shifting, because it no longer is a private matter, it's a public matter. Okay, another way that you can tell you have an adolescent in your household has to do with my chair. You know you have an adolescent in your household. I've never been so bored. What? What do you want? You want me to do what? Just a second, I'm talking to somebody. What? I don't think so. Kids feel more than they have ever felt before during this time period. So it can mean that they feel more bored than they've ever felt before. I've never felt this bored before. It can also mean that they feel more excited than they've ever felt before. Anybody out here have first loves yet? Oh my gosh, I am so in love with John. He is the cutest boy in the school, and I just love it. I'm so excited, and I just cannot wait, and I'm so happy. And then something happens with John, and Tim is the cutest boy in school. It can be with excitement. It can also be with negative feelings. It can be with anger, that they've never been so angry before. They've never been so depressed before. And I'm using the word depressed as an emotion because that is what it is. We have clinical depression, but every one of us has probably felt depression in our life before. When we have something negative that happens to us, when we have a conflict, when we lose somebody, we feel depressed. And kids feel depressed too. And in adolescence, they feel it stronger than they ever have before. And it scares us as parents to see that because we know how difficult it is.